So there is a thing in music that I call apologetics of naivety. So what I mean by this is are the types of thought or some ideologies or mainstream opinions basically against music theory, let's say like this. And there are important categories of the so-called apologetics of naivety. Okay, there are different nuance and different variations of this main thought. This deserves a video in a better format. However, I start here with also a very important commentary. So most of the people who criticize music theory or the knowledge of music theory as a requirement to be a better composer, they have a very important quality that you should observe. These people that have a kind of resentment and are speaking most of the time about imposters syndrome. They have a very interesting thing that you have to observe. Most of the time they are not composing the music that they would really like to compose. Okay, and they are not amazingly skilled. What they can offer is that they are insiders of the music industry. Okay, this is what they can offer, and they can offer a lot of knowledge in music production, what is of course very important. But music production is not music composition. So it is the way that you present the music composition. Music production is music composition only from a more avant-garde perspective. But this is another thing. So this is when we are talking about electroacoustic production, and when we are talking about composition in a more modern sense. But in a very basic distinction, music production is the way that you present musical composition. Okay? And being good in music production doesn't mean being good in musical composition. Okay? So these guys, many of the time, they have this offer, and they show a type of resentment against music theory that is very interesting. So they are busy most of the time with the faults of music theory, actually, more than the educated composer. Okay. However, there is another type and another important group to observe among these apologists of musical naivety, and this is a most interesting group. You find them among a classic example among the heavy metal guitarists. So, in my opinion, the heavy metal guitarists, I mean, in the school of Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Ian Malmsteen, I think they are afforded with one of the best educational frames to learn music until some point. They have a very good intuition for what musical value means, what musicality means, and they go direct to that. Okay, so usually they have a very good musical sense that is built in the ears. Okay, so people, one of the people with the great ears that you will find among the most obsessed and disciplined guitarists. Okay, electric guitar. And even better if they are in this crossover between jazz and heavy metal that we can call a progressive rock and those things. So from teenager years they give a very important value to the ears. But when they achieve a level of proficiency in the compositional skills, they achieve this by some considerations of concepts of music theory until some extent, and they always got very interested in this. So here's a very important distinction between knowing music theory and knowing how to read music. Many of these guitarists, they can't read a piano score, but they can read the, how it's called, this guitar notation, guitar tabs. Okay, so if you identify music theory with reading music, so the discussion will go totally wrong. But if you identify music theory with some respect for concepts and the awareness that concepts brings to your ears in terms of musical perception and the education of your sensibility as a composer, then you will perceive that these people, they still respect music theory to some extent. What happens is that they are aware of their ignorance in a better sense than the previous group that I described. And these guitarists, many times, even when can't read what is in a piano score, when they can't identify the difference between a diatonic and chromatic modulation, even when they can't understand what is an invertible counterpoint, even when they can't understand the difference between dodecaphony and free atonality, they still respect the knowledge of music theory. And here's the key difference between these two types of groups that may reinforce some apologetics of naivety. Because the second group is many times like this: okay, I would like to compose like Bach if I could, and I try to do this always when I am at my keyboard. But my style of music is based on other type of rules and other type of techniques that I did learn. And if this set of rules and techniques, you don't call it music theory in a traditional Western sense, if this set of rules and techniques do not fall under the concept of being a classically educated composer, I know this, but I know the value of some level of naivety, because my style is based on other goals. So this group is a little bit more self-aware. Okay. What happens is that you won't find the level of zero music theory. Okay, this is a very important mistake, and this group understands this. This group is not being apologetic for a zero level of music theory. Okay? What happens here is that they have an understanding of a better understanding of where they are. So Inge Malmsteen, for example, had a very interesting curiosity to go beyond pentatonic scales, and he started studying the scales and the harmony of Bach and Vivaldi, basically the harmony of Bach and Vivaldi, and he started to translating this in this paradigm of scale. That is a very important concept for guitarists. Okay, so they think things more in terms of scales. So Yng Malmsteen gave a lot of value to this. However, I am quite sure that Yng Malmsteen can't compose a string quartet without using minor and major chords in such a way that still sounds interesting and appealing. So what happens here? He managed to learn the skills that is useful for this style that he wants to compose. Decisive here is that still, if you talk to Yng Malmsteen, or if you hear his interviews, so much as by Steve Vai, for example, these people, they respect the knowledge of music theory and the expansion of this knowledge. I am sure they still show a respect, and they don't show a resentment. So these are the two keys to start understanding this issue of the apologetics of naivety, because many times it is an apologetic of ignorance. So the first group, it looks that this group is way more based on resentment, okay, and being triggered by people who study more, simple like this. And the second group, it's more like I acknowledge that I don't know all the stuff and I can't do all the stuff, but I respect and I would like to. Okay? So this is a very important difference. So one group is more towards resentment. The second group is more towards respect and appreciation for the knowledge, even while being ignorant of this knowledge to some extent. This is why sometimes I got requests from people older than me who are who reached some type of success as band members and want to learn piano, or want to learn orchestration, or want to learn how to read chords better, at least. Because if you can't read chords, how limited is your musical and sensorial perception about chords? Okay. The only way out of this would be that you are very talented. After you are born, you are blessed in such a way that you not only hear well, but you hear with understanding of these harmonic relationships from the point of view of history. This is very hard. Okay? So only when you have the written chord, the written scale, the written musical idea, that you can read and perceive that was composed like in Baroque era, for example. Then you start relating your ear to the musical meaning. So this is another category, so the historical meaning. Okay, so you can't reach this just by means of apologetics of naivety. Okay, it's very hard. So you will be very limited. If you want to be limited, but don't dumb people down.